Oaks, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Good sequels are tricky. It's not good enough to be a great movie. You have to be better than the movie that came before you. In this video, we will review Shrek 2 and see if it's actually achieved that goal. Spoiler, I think it did. What makes Shrek 2 great for me is that it holds on to what made it great in the first place, without being redundant, of course, and that is subverting fairy tale tropes. It asks the question, is it really happily ever after? What actually happens after the princess finds true love? I just love the complications that come with asking these questions. What if the parents don't approve? And what if someone else is interested in the princess and doesn't give up? This is exactly what happens when Prince Charming realizes that he is too late to save Fiona and the parents call her back to her kingdom. What if Shrek has to deal with what it actually means to let go of his old self, the version of him that was satisfied being alone? It's not all about Shrek though. As we step into this world, we get introduced to a cast of new characters. We have Fiona's parents who offer a yin and yang reaction to their daughter marrying an ogre. Dad is totally displeased, while the mother is just happy to have her daughter back and is willing to accept her choices. I love that the dad is an active character in this movie and is the catalyst for a lot of the story that happens and isn't just there as a prop. His actions help introduce us to a new character, Puss in Boots. Antonio Banderas is amazing in this. It very much gives me Zorro flashbacks. Puss in Boots has gone on to have movies and a cartoon series. This is how captivating the performance has been. Puss in Boots helps Shrek and Donkey on their way, and I may be reaching here, but I believe he shows how much Shrek has grown. In the first movie, he wasn't really that interested in being with other people, fairy tale character or not, and here we are with him being the one convincing Donkey to let him tag along. The fairy godmother and Prince Charming as the antagonist of this movie, and they offer something that I wanted from the first movie, and that is an active villain. Lord Farquaad was good and all, but there's nothing like a good old-fashioned villain that is scheming on the downfall of the protagonist. I absolutely adore how they flipped her from just being this person who is heaven sent and helps you out by granting wishes. In this movie, she is a diabolical CEO who runs a potion and hex company. Again, they go fully in on avoiding tropes. What makes her great as a villain is how she helps us open a dialogue about themes such as attractiveness and happiness. Throughout the first movie, we see Shrek and Fiona fall for each other for who they are. There's always been this conversation around looks. Shrek faced insane scrutiny over his looks and was eventually ostracized. Same with Fiona, and she had to learn that beauty can come in different forms, not just the ideal that has been taught her entire life. In this movie, we 100% say, no, looks actually matter. Dad isn't happy her daughter married an ugly ogre. Shrek is insecure about his looks because he realizes that he doesn't fit the mold of who a princess should marry. And the fairy godmother's whole shtick is that to deserve happiness, you need to be pretty. You need to look a certain way. When she meets Fiona, her lyrics are the epitome of this. Nip and tuck here and there to land the princess with perfect hair. Lipstick, liner, shadows, and blush to get the prince with a sexy touch. Lucky day, hunky buffet, you and your prince take a stroll in the hay. Man, I should really be a singer. You get me though. This leads to Shrek and Donkey taking a potion to make themselves more attractive because, as the fairy godmother says,
you see, ogres don't live happily ever after.
And that's great commentary for life in general. Are people who don't meet the stereotypical white and skinny criteria not worthy of love and happiness? It's a message that might fly over kids, but will capture the attention with the adults watching this movie. Great balance of serious topics and humor, and serves a wide audience. Another thing I appreciate about this is the world building. In the first movie, we only had the swamp, castle, and the tower. Here we really get to see what a world filled with fairy tale creatures actually looks like. It even looks like Hollywood. All the references, such as the Far Far Away sign and the map selling, are such great example of life in the 2000s. Honestly, depending on who you are, that's a good or bad thing. This movie has an insane amount of references to that period, so it does date it. If you were not around for that time, I'm not sure if this movie hits the same. Look at Sir Justin poster. Of course a girl has that in their room during that period. Despite all of that, I believe that this movie has stood the test of time. You can watch it today and the lessons are relevant, especially in an era of BBLs and the Kardashians. The age of social media where people trend for their looks and you have filters and face tune to mask any physical flaws. This movie is it. And again, the music in this is great as well. Like they perform, seriously, look at her just performing her ass off.
Hit it!
Overall, Shrek 2 is a worthy follow-up to the original film, with plenty of laughs, heart, and adventure. Also, are we going to talk about how this happened? Okay, cool.